Okay. Section 13.5 is really a lot of review. You've done it all before, but it's a lot of review. They talk about standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. Remember that you cannot have fractions in this form, and that a and b can't both be 0. For slope-intercept form, you have y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. And then for point-slope form, you have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. This is when they give you a point and a slope. You always put it in here when you have 1 point and a slope. Now, this stuff is stuff to help you know what to do when. So this one says if you want to graph it, if that's what they're asking you to do is to graph, then you absolutely positively want to get it in slope-intercept form. Once you have it in slope-intercept form, you can start with your b on your y-axis and then use your slope to count up, rise over, run to find the next point. That's graphing by slope-intercept form. If they want you to write an equation, then you want to try to start in point-slope form. That's when they give you the slope and just 1 point, your x1 and your y1. If they don't give you the slope and 1 point, then you can't stick it in that. So when they give you that, you go ahead and you start in this, and then they'll tell you if they want your answer in slope-intercept form or if they want it in standard form. If they give you 2 points but no slope, which happens sometimes, then you're going to have to use your formula for slope to find the slope first. Once you have your slope, then you can come back and put it in the point-slope form. Now, if by some chance you do not remember this at all from algebra, remember you can always go back and watch those algebra videos. This was in section 9, in chapter 9, probably around 9.5 or so. It might have been earlier, it might have been later. But you know, you can always contact me and I can go through a few of them with you if you need to. Hey, look, I plan on doing a couple anyway. But first, I wanted to show you something. They want us to find the intersection point of the lines given by 2x minus y equals 4 and x minus 2y equals negative 4. So first you have to start by graphing them, which is what they did. They graphed this one and then they graphed that one. In order to find the intersection point, the point where they cross, that is your intersection point. You don't have to do anything else if you can graph them and find the point where they cross. Now, if they don't cross, that means the lines must be parallel. If they don't cross at a pretty spot, that means you might want to check your work. Because for this book, they should all cross at a pretty spot. Now, the next book, that may not be the case. But in this book, they should all cross at a really pretty spot. At a nice, pretty point like this one. And that point where they cross is what your answer is. Okay? Now, let's do some practice. I am looking on page 562. Problem number 2. They want us to find the slope-intercept form of the equation. They start out by giving us 3x plus 2y is equal to 6. That's not in slope-intercept form. That one happens to be in standard form, so we have to move it into slope-intercept form. In order for it to be in slope-intercept form, we have to have the y by itself. So I'm going to move my 3x first of all. That gives me 2y equals negative 3x plus 6. Then I can divide everything by 2. It's okay to have fractions in slope-intercept form. It's not okay to have them in standard form. So I can write negative 3 over 2x. 2 goes into 6 3 times. So that's my answer. Problem number 8. They want us to find the slope and y-intercept. They give us y equals negative 5x plus 7.5. So my slope is going to be negative 5 over 1, because that's what the fraction is. And my y-intercept, which is my b, is going to be 7.5 or 7.5. Problem number 10. Write the equations in slope-intercept form for lines with y-intercept b and slope m. They tell me b equals negative 3 and m equals negative 5 over 2. They just want the equation in slope-intercept form. So that looks like y equals mx plus b. I know that because I memorized it years ago. So in place of my m, I write the number they gave me. And in place of my b, I write the number they gave me. If you want to make it just a minus 3, that's fine too. Either one is fine. Number 14. They want us to write the equations in point-slope form for lines containing a and having a slope of m. They say a is negative 7, 0, and m is negative 4. They want it in point-slope form, so y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. In place of my y1, I put what y1 was. In place of my m, I put what m is. In place of my x1, I put what that is. I can reduce this down to just a y equals. Over here, I want to leave my 4 on the outside so it's still in its point-slope form. But I'm going to go ahead and clean that up so it's x plus 7. In problem number 18, write equations in point slope and standard forms for the line containing G and H. G, they say, is 3, 0, and H, they say, is 0, 2. So before I can put this in point slope form, I have to figure out what the slope is. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is 2 minus 0 over 0 minus 3, which gives me 2 on top and negative 3 on the bottom. So this is my slope. And because I like having the negative on top, I'm just going to write negative 2 over 3. It looks prettier to me that way. Okay, so now I have my slope and 2 points. And it doesn't matter which point I choose to go into it, but since we've already used, x minus x1. I wish I had an eraser now. Since we've already used this as our x1, y1, there's really no need to change it. So y minus 0 equals negative 2 over 3 times x minus my x1 was 3. So for my point slope form, I get y equals negative 2 over 3 times x minus 3. Then they wanted it in standard form also. So in order to stick this in standard form, the first thing I'm going to have to do is get rid of that fraction. Right now, I'm going to distribute the fraction. Negative 2 times negative 3 is a positive 6 over 3, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. But I still have to get rid of that fraction, and I need to get my x and my y on the same side. Sorry, was it showing it? Huh? Need to get my x and my y on the same side and get rid of the fraction. So I'm going to multiply everything by 3 so that I can get rid of that fraction. 3y equals negative 2x plus 6. Then I need to move my 2x to the other side, so I'm going to add 2x to both sides. That gives me 2x plus 3y is equal to 6, which is in standard form. So these are the two answers for that question. Now, I just did as many problems as you have for homework and classwork. Just about. You have one more problem than what I did for classwork and one more problem than what I did for homework. So it shouldn't take you too long to do them. Classwork, numbers 3, 7, 11, 15, 19, and 27. And then homework is numbers 5, 9, 13, 17, 23, and 35. Have a great day. Hey, look, there's only one more section left.